All right. It's the Wednesday after Halloween. Okay, today is. And if we look ahead a bit, we'll see the following. There are 22 days until Thanksgiving. When I saw that, I was like, holy crap. 22 days. I said the same thing when I saw this. There are 52 days until Christmas. There are 59 days till January 1st. I said, holy crap, to all three of those things. It's going to be here before we know it, right? So let me do this real quick. Let me see if I can get this up. 1 second. There's the poll. Okay, I'm activating the poll. 1 second. Okay. Good. All right. Shortly here, if you haven't, you should see a poll pop up. And the poll is going to ask you how much weight is typically gained between Thanksgiving and New Year's each year. How much weight do you think is typically gained between Thanksgiving and New Year's each year? Let me see if that's popped up there yet. There we go. Looks like the survey's up. Okay. 1 second here. Yeah, there we go. Looks like it's there. It's there on my end. Hopefully it's there on yours. So the question was, how much weight is typically gained between Thanksgiving and New Year's each year? Answer that on the poll if you would, please. So here's the deal. Something I've perceived for many years is that an average amount of weight gained from Halloween through New Year's is about 5 to 7 pounds. But research doesn't really support this notion. It's not that no one gains 5 to 7 or even 15 to 20 pounds. But if we're looking at averages, the amount of holiday weight gain is significantly less. It's more on the order of 1 to 2 pounds. It might surprise you. Maybe it doesn't. But it did me. So what's the problem then, and why all the hubbub over holiday weight gain? Well, as it turns out, the majority of weight that is gained in an entire year is over the holiday period, and people do not lose that holiday weight when the holidays are over. So, even though an average of 1 to 2 pounds are gained over the holidays, most people don't lose that seemingly small amount of weight at any point in time in the next year. And over the course of 10 years, now, if we project ahead and look at the impact, those extra 1 to 2 pounds are 10 to 20 pounds because, again, the holiday weight gain isn't lost post-holiday. Now, some of you might be thinking 10 to 20 pounds over 10 years. That's it? You're like, I gained a hell of a lot more than that over the past 10 years. Well, that's because averages don't tell the whole story. Multiple research articles, including this 2021 piece from Obesity Science and Practice that I'm going to discuss tonight, have found similar things. So I'm just going to discuss this one because they've got some cool insights. It's a 2021 study, so it's nicely new and fresh and relevant, but it also brings in other elements of studies that are 20 or more years old that really all say very similar things as far as this aspect of how much weight is gained over the holidays. So as for how much weight is gained over the holidays, the authors, like the authors from other pieces, found this to be true. Yeah, the average weight gain by all over the holidays is 1 to 2 pounds, not 5 to 7, as many of us have commonly thought. But if you are already overweight or obese, the likelihood that you are going to gain 5 or more pounds over the holidays instead of 1 to 2, the average, goes significantly up. So over the course of 10 years, instead of only gaining 10 to 20 pounds, it's quite possible one may gain 50 to 70 pounds by gaining 5 to 7 pounds over the holiday period alone, and then not losing the holiday weight during the rest of the new year. So in other presentations, I've discussed how we should think of weight management as being in a kayak on a river, not a lake. Why a river? Well, a river always has a current trying to drag us downstream. Downstream is where we consider, that's where weight gain is. Downstream is weight gain. And we have to always be paddling, unlike this woman, okay, who has her oar up in her lap. Doesn't appear to be paddling anyway. We have to always be paddling just to hold our position because we're on a river. We're not on a lake. We've got to paddle just to hold our position. Holding our position is weight maintenance. And if we paddle hard enough to go upstream, we are doing weight loss. So, if we're going downstream, we're gaining weight. If we're holding our position, which requires paddling because we're on a river, faced upstream, that's weight maintenance. And if we paddle hard enough to go upstream, we can get weight loss. And in other presentations, I've discussed how Even in maintenance, there will be times when the river is like glass, and we barely need to paddle to hold our position. But it may also be like a Class 5 rapids, where just to hold our position, we feel like we have to paddle for our lives. And this could be a person in maintenance, let alone a person wanting to still lose weight. Either one of these scenarios, whether you're in maintenance or you're going to lose weight, can look like this. It can be not too bad, nice and clear, or it could be like the rapids picture. Okay? Just know that these scenarios are forever, and it can range from what you see on the left there all the way to the right and all that stuff. Okay? So, the holidays are almost never the example where the river is like glass, meaning it'll be easy peasy paddling to hold our position. Instead, it's going to vary because all of our holiday experiences vary, but it'll range from a Class 2 to a Class 6 rapids, moderate to extraordinarily difficult. That's usually how the holidays are going to be, from moderate to extraordinarily difficult. Depends on experience. They're not hard for me at all, but as again, I'm no better than you. I just have a 24-year head start, okay? So if they aren't hard for me, that's why. That doesn't mean I don't have to think a little bit more. It doesn't mean I have to engage planning a little bit more or whatever, but I wouldn't say they're hard. So they're probably more like a Class 1 or Class 2 rapids. But anyway, we are quite likely going to have to paddle harder, especially during the holidays, just to hold our position for the next 2 to 3 months. So let me back up a second too. An important point, so we don't gloss over the significance of even the 1 to 2 pounds of average weight gain over the holidays, is this. The author said, the subtle weight gain observed during this time is not without health implications, as even the modest weight gains are not typically reversed following the holiday season and likely contribute to an accumulation of weight throughout the year. And this, I want everyone to hear loud and clear that. Beyond the fact that most don't lose the holiday weight they gain, small continued gains over the years do have health implications. All right, so quiz question. It's not a poll, it's just a quiz question. What's the average weight gain? This is basically testing your knowledge up to this point. What's the average weight gain from Halloween through New Year's? Okay, I just covered it. So what's the average weight gain from Halloween through New Year's? Just comment it. Average weight gain from Halloween through New Year's. If you answered 1 to 2 pounds, you are correct. Okay, let's do another one. Another quiz question, just see if you're keeping up with me here. If you start the holiday season overweight or obese, are you more or less likely to gain more than 1 to 2 pounds over the holiday season? What do you think? More or less? If you answered more, you are correct. One more quiz question. If you are overweight or obese right now, are you screwed and is it hopeless? If you're overweight or obese right now, are you screwed and is it hopeless with the holiday season approaching? Absolutely not. Get real. If you know me at all, you know it's never hopeless, and I'd never leave you in that hopeless position. It's why we're here. Absolutely not. It's not hopeless. I will defend that with great honor and vigor. So a cool thing about this study is the subjects they were reviewing. Okay, the subjects they were reviewing make part of this study kind of cool. In this case, they were looking at subjects who are members of the National Weight Control Registry. What's the National Weight Control Registry? Well, it's a research study that includes people 18 years or older who have lost at least 30 pounds of weight and kept it off for at least 1 year. There are currently over 10,000 members enrolled in the study, making it perhaps the largest study of weight loss ever conducted. Well then, it might be valuable to see what strategies these at least somewhat successful weight fighters have used to successfully battle holiday weight gain. They've already proven they can lose 30 or more pounds and keep it off for more than a year, right? So what strategies did the researchers find the members use to battle this extra obesogenic environment, the holiday season? It's extra obesogenic. And, well, here's the deal. There were 18 primary strategies identified by the researchers. Now, each member of the National Weight Control Registry they looked at that was in the study, each member didn't use all 18 strategies. When the next slide you're going to see that all 18, and they're going to be kind of small, but I'll read them, and here we go. Here's the 18 strategies the researchers found the people in the National Weight Control Registry used to do better during the holiday season. Number 1, they maintained an exercise routine that they were already doing. So they maintained an exercise routine that they were already doing. They monitor their portion sizes. They track the kinds of foods that they eat or they count calories. They weigh themselves regularly. They add more activity into their routine. They add more activity into their routine. So they maintain the exercise they were doing, but they also add more activity into the routine. They make choices about which holiday foods are worth eating and skip items that aren't special or important to them. They adjust how much they ate during other meals on the days that they had a party or an event. They tried to stop eating when they felt full, and or they tried to practice other mindful eating strategies, like just eating slower, eating at a table, eating from a plate, so on and so forth. They avoided certain types of food, just things that aren't going to work for them, probably triggers and things like that. They brought healthy dishes to things. Okay, something, if you bring a healthy dish, it's one thing you know you can eat. They minimize the amount of time that they have tempting foods in the house. Yes, they're reducing cues. A cue is something that increases temptation. A cue is something that can increase craving or drive to want to eat off plan. So they minimize the amount of time that they had tempting foods in the house. They use technology to make healthy decisions. They skipped or reduced alcoholic beverage intake. Skipped or reduced alcoholic beverage intake. They focused on non-food elements of the holiday season. I mean, what's the reason for the season? We do the food, but is that the entire reason for the season? I mean, we need to keep perspective there, and that's one of the strategies they used. They decreased the amount of time that they sat each day. They started a weight loss program, or they followed a formal diet. And they packed healthy snacks while traveling. Okay, so they're planning ahead when they travel. They're packing healthy snacks. They're not just winging it. And they share their weight goals with someone in their life to ask, and someone they could ask for support or help. Okay? So, as much as social misinformers want to tout that we need to throw all our scales away, throw those scales away, those mean scales. Here's the deal. Self-monitoring of weight and dietary intake are two strategies consistently proven to benefit those losing weight or maintaining weight lost. Few things are 100%, but self-monitoring is highly correlated with weight loss and weight maintenance success. The authors make no bones about it. They said, self-weighing is the hallmark of self-regulatory strategies in behavioral weight management treatments, and therefore, it is not surprising this would be associated with better weight control. I share this because it's always good for everyone to hear it again, but also because the researchers found that even with these successful members, National Weight Control Registry members, there was an inclination over the holidays to reduce self-monitoring. They said the holiday season creates an environment that is associated with a general decrease in attention to weight and eating, increasing vulnerability to weight gain. In general, the researchers found that, as I'm pointing to there on the slide, a greater number of strategies was associated with less weight gain, along with two specific strategies. Let me see here. Is that what I want to say? Yeah. Self-weighing and making specific choices about what food is worth eating versus skipping during the holidays. You know, when I was looking at this study, I couldn't agree more how often I personally do that. Where I look and I'm like, I can have it. It's Thanksgiving. There's nothing off limits. When I go to Thanksgiving, I don't treat Thanksgiving as though I'm getting ready for a bodybuilding show and I've got to live on, whatever, chicken breast and broccoli. And I don't even live on that if I was getting ready for a show, but that's just to make the example. This is the one day, it's got to be perfect today. It's got to be just 100% real food. It's got to be this and that. That's not how I handle it. If you want to, hey, do your thing. But as for me, I make choices about what's worth it. Just because a certain kind of pie or a certain kind of whatever is there doesn't mean I'm going to have it. And I do this often. I do this not just on holidays, but throughout the year. That number 6 there, making choices about which foods are worth eating and skipping the things that are not special or not important to me. Anyway, it's interesting that the researchers found that the members of the National Weight Control Registry, among these 18, the researchers found these two things, number 4 and number 6, really stood out as things that the members engaged in quite frequently at a very high level. And another interesting take-home point that I want to highlight is the authors said that in addition to self-monitoring and planning ahead, it's valuable to teach individuals a variety of cognitive behavioral tools to help individuals achieve their weight loss goals. The study authors said further, it may be the case that having a wider variety of tools in one's toolbox allows for flexibility to navigate the greater volume and frequency of challenges, stress, greater frequency of social gatherings with high-calorie foods and drinks, and competing demands limiting opportunities to engage in physical activity, right? We're busier with things. We might have less opportunity to exercise. We get all of these competing demands during the holidays. And that all these things that arise for weight control during the holiday season can make things more difficult. So what they're saying is it's a very good idea to have a wider variety of tools in the toolbox to navigate all of these things that are increased in difficulty during the holiday season. Well, I've referred to this similarly as becoming a lifestyle ninja by addressing the science and the art. Okay, there's a science and an art to all of this. Our program is evidence-based, but there's also an experiential, I'm going to say, art side of things. We've been doing this a long time. I've been online 21 years, been doing it for over 30. And there's that combination of evidence-based and art of managing the nutritionally fit, actively fit, and emotionally fit legs of weight management. Those are the legs that make up and support permanent weight management. So my goal is to give you a lifestyle with these 3 legs as the base that you can take anywhere, for any situation, and always know what to do to feel like you're ready for anything. That's where the lifestyle ninja comes in. In time, no restaurant, vacation, party, event, or holiday will scare you, okay, because you will know the principles that allow you to adapt, like a ninja, to any situation. No silver bullet is expected or needed. Instead, we rely on a plethora of tools to adapt as needed to whatever the situation arises. So in other words, we're going beyond calories in, calories out, beyond eat less and exercise more, and we're addressing things we do here at LLU like writing an ABC. Why do I have that under the nutrition tab? Writing an ABC, antecedent behavior and consequence. You know, what happened before the off-plan eating event? What was the behavior during the off-plan eating event? And what are the consequences of the off-plan eating event? Why evaluate that? Well, the researchers just said that, let me find it again here. Cognitive behavioral therapy strategies can be quite effective and are a nice addition to just all the standard, calories in, calories out mantras and exercise and nutrition. Anyway, they're talking about cognitive behavioral therapies being effective in behavioral weight management programs, which ours is a behavioral weight management program. It would definitely fall into that category, okay? Anyway, writing an ABC. An ABC, if you didn't know, let me go back to it here, is straight out of cognitive behavioral therapy teaching. If you look at cognitive behavioral therapy teaching, you'll find as one of the strategies an ABC. ABC is one of those strategies, all right? So then we have focusing on what we want, not on what we fear or don't want. These are the principles supporting universal laws. This is what I'm covering. Principles we teach, that we talk about, that support universal laws to help us have those tools in our toolbox to be the lifestyle ninjas we need to be so that we can go anywhere, be in any situation, and not be in fear, but know that we've got a tool at our disposal, multiple tools, and we can apply them as needed because we understand the principles that pertain to them, and we can apply them as we need so that we can do better in any situation. So focus is one of those principles. Focus on what we want, not on what we fear or don't want. Gratitude. Whatever we proactively appreciate grows. So we want to be grateful all along the way for the things we already have. Serenity. We want to accept what we cannot control, have the courage to change what we can, and have the wisdom to know the difference so that we can better manage control and worry. Self-compassion. Stopping the negative self-talk and thinking, being a good friend to yourself, reducing catastrophics, disputing the irrational, giving yourself credit for progress, and having more acceptance of our humanity and vulnerability. Mindfulness. Primarily through meditation, mindfulness is learning to observe your thoughts without judgment. Trigger-free living for the triggered eater. There are 10 TFL strategies, trigger-free living strategies. Those TFL strategies are incredibly powerful and important for a great percentage of everyone listening to this if you believe or know you are a triggered eater. Hypervigilant prioritization. I don't talk about that a lot. There's a lesson on it in your This Week with Coach David lessons that come out each Wednesday. But hypervigilant prioritization is for determining important versus most important. You go, everything's important. I got a lot of important things to do. We've all got a lot of important things to do. But important is not most important. And it's important that we separate out and understand that difference between important and most important. And we're supporting the universal law here that says there's never enough time, energy, affection, and money for everything. But there's always enough for the most important things. And that's why we've got to know what's most important, because there isn't enough energy or time for everything. But there's always enough energy and time for the most important things. Why power over willpower? For supporting the universal law that says that if it's important enough, we find a way. And if it's not, we find an excuse. So it's important that we have our why power solid as we can. These are all these tools that are going to help us better navigate the holidays and beyond the holidays, do better overall with our transformation and our weight management. Paying yourself first, which supports the universal law that says you are best able to serve others when you are taking care of yourself first. Flight attendants tell us every single time we fly to put our mask on first before we try and help others. Beast management. If you're new, don't worry about that. Just know this. Don't worry about the term. It'll come later. It's to manage the universal law that we all have a negative chatterbox in us. We all have a negative chatterbox, a deceptive voice that can seem to be our best friend, but it's really selfish and destructive to us if we allow it. So managing that, and there are there are strategies for managing what we call the beast. And if you're new, you'll be taught a little bit later down the road. Goals, setting SMART goals, specific, measurable, action-based, realistic, time-sensitive, to support the universal law that says that when we set SMART goals, we're going to do better. Okay, we've got a better target, a more specific target to go for. Connection, to support the universal law that we are hardwired to be social beings and to rely on each other's area of expertise. We want to seek out and engage, as needed, personal, professional, and spiritual support. Connection, and just friendship too, right? Whatever that may be. Connection. Community. Growth, to support the universal law that says we manage life best when we are always engaged in some activities related to personal growth. We should always be striving to get better. Class is never out for the professional. We should always be striving to learn, to grow, to improve. Sleep seems like a simple one, but for keeping a sharp brain and for affording us a recovered brain that can think and that is functioning optimally for decision making, especially when it comes to what should we eat, what kind of movement should we do, should we exercise today, do we have the energy for it? Sleep is incredibly powerful. Try to get at least 7 hours a night. And last, at least for this particular example tonight, is faith. Generally, people do better at life management and behavioral management when they are in alignment with their core spiritual values. You just feel better. You feel better. You feel more authentic when you're in alignment with your core spiritual values. Regardless of spiritual disposition, though, of faith that it's all happening perfectly, even if we don't know why or why right now, can offer more peace in otherwise overwhelming situations. It's all happening perfectly, even if we don't know why or why right now. This list isn't comprehensive, but it covers the overwhelming majority of tools we discussed, that I teach here at LLU, that are beyond nutrition, beyond exercise, or any aspect of a caloric deficit, the almighty caloric deficit. All right, so let's do a brass tacks thing here. So what about setting a goal to lose 20 pounds by Christmas? Is that insane? Is it doable? Is it advisable? Well, the authors of the study I'm highlighting tonight said, while 2/3 of the sample reported that they were trying to lose weight at the time of the pre-holiday assessment, so before the holidays, they all said that they were trying to lose some weight. 2/3, I shouldn't say they all, 2/3 said they were trying to lose some weight. Only 1/3 of the sample reported having a goal of continued weight loss during the holidays. This reflects a shift in weight goals, perhaps in anticipation of the challenges that accompany the holiday season. So in over 30 years of coaching weight management, I've seen dozens lose substantial weight between now and January 1st. So, can it be done? You bet. Is it likely? No, it's not. Hell, one time I purposely took my body fat down from about 12% to 5% between now and Christmas, between this period and Christmas, about that first week in November and Christmas. I took my body fat down from 12% down to about 5% at Christmas just because people said I couldn't do it. Impossible to do. You can't do it with all the holiday. And I did it just to show them that it could be done. Again, Nothing stupendous. I just had my why just was strong enough in that particular time to do that. So, what kind of goal should we set between now and Christmas or now and New Year's? Okay? Can you lose 20 pounds by Christmas? In other words, in the next 52 days. 20 pounds in 52 days. Yep, you can. But you better be ready to exercise 2 to 3 hours a day, 6 days a week, at about 1,000 to 1,200 calories if you're a woman, or exercise 90 minutes to 2 hours a day, 6 days a week at about 1,500 to 1,700 calories a day if you're a man. Okay? That's the reality of it. We need to get real here. What is probably more advisable? Setting a modest weight loss goal between now and the first week of January, or setting a weight maintenance goal. By redefining the win, and trust me, it is a huge win to either lose a little bit between now and January 1st or just maintaining your most recent, within the past week or so, low weight between now and January 1st. You'll set yourself up for realistic success if you do one of these two things, more likely. And you can and should feel really good about knowing you're doing what only a minority of people will do this holiday season. If you do either one of those two things on the screen, set a more modest weight loss goal or set a maintenance goal, you will be doing what only the minority of people do this holiday season. So, in conclusion, there are 7 take-home points I want you to grab from this lesson. Okay? So, number 1, people on average gain 1 to 2 pounds between Halloween and New Year's. However, those who are overweight or obese are more likely to gain 5 or more pounds. Number 2, most people do not lose the holiday weight gained in the 10-month post-holiday period from January through October. This can really add up over a 10-year period. We are all on a river, not a lake, and for the next 2 to 3 months, we're not likely to experience a lot of smooth as glass currents. Keep paddling. The authors found that self-monitoring of weight plus making clear decisions about which holiday indulgences were worth it were the 2 success strategies most prevalent among those who did better during the holiday season. So keep self-monitoring. It'll help you to make quick adjustments as you traverse the holiday season. Number 5, while those 2 strategies stood out the most, successful members of the National Weight Control Registry study group, they utilized multiple strategies, including cognitive behavioral aspects related to overall emotion and life management. Number 6, doing your best to apply principles supporting universal laws for things like focus, gratitude, serenity, self-compassion, sleep, mindfulness, connection, and faith, among others, will only help you in making the consistent, quality nutrition and exercise decisions that best serve your goals. In other words, to truly become a lifestyle ninja. Number 7, you can lose 20 pounds by Christmas. However, my advice is to redefine the win and reduce the intensity of weight loss or strive for maintaining your most recent 7-day low between now and January 1st. If you don't gain any weight between now and January 1st, you'll be way ahead of most others. I and my coaches, however, are here to support you in your choice either way. Let's just all come at it realistically. Excuse me. Let's come at it realistically without romanticizing a delusion.